My name is Sharon Parmet. I am a middle-aged white woman with brown hair and bangs. I'm wearing an orange shirt with a gray cardigan over it. I am, as Kathleen said, a healthcare communications associate within Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. Shirley Ryan Ability Lab has several research groups, and I am associated with the Center for Rehabilitation Outcomes Research, also known as CROR. Next slide, please. So here's our agenda for today. I'm going to give an introduction. I'm going to talk about why we decided to produce a podcast, how we figured out what it would be focused on, a little bit of information on how it's made and what the outcomes were or are, because it's ongoing. Next slide, please. So just a little background on Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. We are located in Chicago. We have been ranked the #1 rehabilitation hospital in the US for actually now 34 consecutive years by US News and World Report. Shirley Ryan Ability Lab consists of a 262 bed flagship hospital, and you can see a picture of it right there. It's a, 20-ish story mirror exterior building. And we also have several outpatient clinics. Some of the common things that are treated at Shirley Ryan include traumatic brain injury, stroke, spinal cord injury, pediatric rehab, cancer rehabilitation, limb loss, vestibular disorders, other conditions like aphasia. Next slide, please. Like I said earlier, I work for the Center for Rehabilitation Outcomes Research. There is a photo of some of the members of our group. Right there, we have about 20 people in the group in total. And our group is led by Dr. Alan Heineman, and we conduct research with the aim of improving outcomes for people with physical disabilities in a nutshell. Our group also manages a resource called the Rehabilitation Measures Database. It now has, I believe, 570 some odd rehabilitation measures that are accessed by over 1 million people a year. So it's a great resource. And our group is funded by NIDLR, as well as the Craig H. Nielsen Foundation, the Department of Defense, Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, NIH, and Paralyzed Veterans of America Educational Foundation. We have a couple of other grants as well. Next slide, please. Some of our projects, just to give you an overview, we have 2 rehabilitation research and training centers. One's on home and community-based services. Another is on employment for people with physical disabilities. We are part of the spinal cord injury care system. We're the Midwest regional one. We have a project funded by the Nielsen Foundation on mental health and spinal cord injuries. We just got a grant about a year ago to look at differences in inpatient rehabilitation outcomes among people with SCI in different countries around the world. We have projects related to using smartphone technology to improve exercise adherence. We have an expert on motivational interviewing among our group, Dr. Linda Ehrlich-Jones, and there are even more grants that are too numerous to name. So we're very, very busy. Next slide, please. So I was hired on about 2 years ago, specifically to work on knowledge translation and communications. Some of our current KT deliverables include infographics for the Rehabilitation Measures Database. So I take a rehabilitation measure and turn it into an infographic to provide to people who are in rehabilitation who might be taking those measures or being given them. We have 3 newsletters. MRSIX Matters goes to people who are enrolled in the National Spinal Cord Injury Database. There's about 1,500 recipients there. HCBS Quality Matters is a quarterly newsletter, goes to about 4,000 subscribers, and CROR Outcomes goes to, I think, about 2,000 subscribers. So those go out and I manage those, and I write the HCBS newsletter. I also do our social media, and other knowledge translation efforts in our group include, of course, presentations, trainings, collaborations, and other things. Next slide, please. So we have a pretty robust communications suite, so to speak, but we wanted to also do a podcast. It's a different platform that would reach a different audience. So this would be something that would be disseminated through our newsletters, but we were also hoping to reach additional people. Half of Americans listen to a podcast in the last year. You can listen while you're doing something else. The podcasts are searchable on their platforms like Spotify. So we wanted to break into the podcast arena. Next slide, please. So, okay, well, what is it going to be about? Well, obviously, CROAR has so much research going on that we figured we could do several episodes on our research, our results, things like that. There's also Shirley Ryan Ability Lab and all the research that goes on there. Our partners, our colleagues, people doing rehabilitation research around the country and around the world, that was another idea. And then just general disability topics that don't have to be associated with research. Those were also of interest. So it looked like we've got plenty of material to work with. Next slide, please. So what are the topics? I'll give you a couple of topics of our episodes. We had an introduction by our director, Alan Heineman. We talked, of course, about the Rehabilitation Measures Database. It's our feature resource. We talked about research related to a Parkinson's support group, a pain management group that's part of one of our research grants. We talked about a workplace accommodations decision aid, which is in development under one of our grants, and just Ability Lab research, neurostimulation, some stuff about institutional change at our own hospital. Some of our more recent topics since I created this slide deck include an episode on disability data justice in general, one on a vocational rehabilitation success story where we had a voc rehab counselor along with someone that she had helped out, and transportation in the Windy City here in Chicago. We talked about transportation accessibility. Those are just a few of the topics that I've covered. So next slide, please. So I am the host of the podcast, and I wanted to make this as easy as possible for guests. So I generally have 2 Zoom calls with guests. The first call, all we do is talk about what are we going to talk about during the recording. So we go back and forth on ideas, we make a list of bullet point questions that we want to hit, and then I draw up an outline based on that conversation, share it with my guests, and then we have call number 2 a week or 2 weeks later, whenever they're available. So that's the actual recording. Next slide, please. As I was preparing to launch the podcast, I was helped out quite a bit by Sector Resources. Sector is the Center on Knowledge Translation for Employment Research. And they had what is called a community of practice, where other knowledge translation folks get together once a month or so, and we talk about podcasts, social media, newsletters, all kinds of things. And that was really, really useful when I was launching the podcast, because I had never launched a podcast before and I was quite nervous. So I got a lot of just moral support from Sector, as well as some technical information that helped. I looked to YouTube for, how am I going to do this? Of course, YouTube is great for how-tos. I talked to an expert in the Shirley Ryan Academy, which is the Academy offers courses in different rehabilitation topics, and the person who runs that had some good ideas for me, some tips. And I already knew a little bit about Audacity, which is an editing software that I knew I wanted to use because it was just so easy to use. So generally, I I was a little nervous. I'd never done this before, but I had used Audacity in the past. Next slide, please. Can you fast forward? Okay. So we got stuck there for a second. So I'm still in the preparation phase. We decided on a monthly podcast, about 30 minutes long. I think that's about enough. We came up with a title. It's called Inside the Outcomes, a Rehabilitation Research Podcast. I knew that I needed a graphic identity for the podcast. I knew that we needed to put it on one of the CWAR web pages, and I knew I was going to share it on social media through our newsletters. And Audiogram is, sometimes you see there's like a social post with some sound in it, like a clip from the podcast. Kathleen, are you going to tell me I got to hurry up?
Yep.
Okay.
Speaking of target links, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're all prepared. Next slide, please. How do I make it? This is technical. I record it on Zoom. You use a decent mic. I convert the audio files to MP3 using iTunes. I edit it with Audacity. I save it as an MP3 file and post it to the RSS feed, which took me a while to figure out what that is. You put it on Spotify or wherever you're going to host it, and it goes to all the other platforms. Okay, next slide, please. I have show notes that I post with the podcast that talk about what it's about. And I always have a transcript that goes with it. Next slide, please. This is just what it looks like on Spotify, some of the topics we've covered. Next slide, please. Like I've been saying, we post to the CWAR webpage. I post it on social. I disseminate it to all of our newsletter subscribers. Of course, I tell NARIC, which is the National Rehabilitation Information Center. They share NIDILRR-funded research results and products. And internally at Shirley, yes, Jessica Chaikin. And I share internally with Shirley Ryan Ability Lab through our internal intranet. Next slide, please. So this is what the email looks like that I send out to our subscribers, and a sample of what a social media post looks like. Next slide, please. So what happened at first? Not a lot. I didn't know what to expect. We posted it, we promoted it. About 12 months into it, we're currently at about 15 or 16 months in. So that's how many episodes I have. Decided to post it on YouTube. And the benefit of YouTube is that you don't need an account to watch it. It's searchable. And I go in and I really edit the auto-generated transcript to make sure that it reads correctly. I put in punctuation. I make it readable, because if you don't do that, it's kind of garbled. So that takes a lot of time. And at this point, we have on average, about 150 to 200 listeners per episode. Of course, it builds over time. A recent episode on a vocational rehabilitation success story has over 800 listens on YouTube alone. So it is growing. Next slide, please. Okay, we already talked about YouTube. Next slide, please. That's what it looks like on YouTube. You can see the captions are at the very bottom. They're a little bit small. Next slide, please. Listens per episode. I think it kind of varies by topic. Some of them aren't, our best ones, but it is growing over time. Next slide, please. And here are some, what are they called? QR codes that'll take you to the podcast, but I'm also going to put it in the chat right now. And that, I believe, is it. So thank you.